everyone. So I've had a lot of people reaching out to me lately, whether it's been on Facebook, through friends, some of my clients, but I've seen this theme of people who are walking through trauma with somebody that they care about. Maybe somebody in their family just disclosed something, maybe somebody they care about has just experienced something really, really hard, or they've gone through this major loss. And the people that I'm hearing from are like, well, what do we do? How do we help? How do we show up and make a difference and be present and help this person to go through this really hard thing, right? And I love that people are asking me that, because I think people really do care about the people in our lives, but a lot of times we just don't know what to do. So today I want to give you 3 tips. Right now, obviously this is a Facebook video, it's not therapy, but hopefully these 3 little tips are going to help you as you're walking through something hard with the person that you care about. Okay? So the first thing we want to do when somebody shares a trauma is we want to believe them. Right? If you come to me and you tell me something horrible has happened in your world, I'm just going to believe you. Right? My job is not to investigate. My job is not to determine if it's the truth. I'm not a cop. I'm a therapist, or I'm a friend, or I'm a mom, or I'm whatever. Right? Now, sometimes I might be obligated to report it, but even there, I'm just going to say what I heard. It's not my job to look for facts. So when you come to me and you tell me your story, we just want to believe it. When they come to you and they tell you, this is what happened, we listen to the details that they want to share, and we trust, right? For a lot of people, a lot of victims especially, everywhere they turn, people ask a million questions and they criticize them and they try to find holes in their story, and that's natural because we don't want to believe that some of the stuff that happens in our world is real. And we especially don't want to believe that it happens this close, and so we want to, our brains just naturally want to contest it and try to make it so that it's not true, because we don't want to have to accept it. But if we're brave enough to believe people, that does more than almost anything for them, right? We just believe them. The next thing we want to do is we want to just show up, right? If you need to call me at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to answer the phone. If you need me to sit with you while you get the rape kit done, I'm going to be there. I'm going to show up. I'm going to listen. If you want to talk about the person that you lost, I'm going to listen. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to share stories. I'm going to look at pictures. I'm going to be there for whatever it is that you need. I'm never going to tell you something like, oh, don't talk about it, or oh, just try not to think about it. It'll be okay. Because you need the space, or the person walking through the hard time needs the space to be able to feel what they're feeling. And so I'm going to show up and I'm just going to be present. Right? I don't have to have magic words. I just have to be there. Right? For a lot of people who go through really hard times, just showing up and just being there, that's what matters most. Right? And then the third thing that we want to do is we want to accept our limitations. Right? And this is a really hard one, but it's probably one of the most important ones. Okay? So, although I think I say that about all of them, but it really, really is. So sometimes accepting our limitations means, stepping out and taking care of ourselves so that we can come back in and be present. Sometimes accepting limitations means something like calling in a professional because things are getting bigger than you can handle, right? A lot of times accepting our limitations means accepting that I can't fix this. That whatever it is that you're going through, there's just not an answer, right? And there is so much freedom. It's hard to do that, but there is so much freedom when we finally accept that we just can't fix this stuff. Because if I'm on the receiving end and you're sitting there saying, oh, here's these 7 things that we can do and it's going to fix this, or here's the 14 reasons why it's not as bad as what somebody else has experienced, or however that looks, then all of a sudden I start feeling like I have to pretend like I'm okay. I start having to shift over into this position where I'm caring for you. Or maybe I start to doubt myself and I start to think, well, maybe this isn't really that bad. Or maybe I shouldn't be having such a strong reaction to this. Right? When we recognize that there's some things that are just really horrible, awful, sucky things and they can't be fixed, then we have the permission to just sit with people and just be together in the really hard spot. And a lot of times when we're just with somebody in that really, really hard spot, that's where we heal. See, as humans, we're actually fairly resilient. We can go through really hard things. We can experience trauma, we can experience major losses, and we can still walk through those and get to the place of joy. But we have to walk through them. We can't just skip the messiness. We can't just pretend like the bad thing didn't happen. Otherwise, we just carry it around and it just festers forever. Right? If we have people that show up and they believe what's happened and they accept that they can't do anything about it, and so they just give us the space that we need to grieve and they just sit there with us, that's how we heal. Right? It feels like it should be more complicated, but most of the time that's all people need. We need to be believed, we need people to show up, and we need people to accept that they can't fix some of these things and just give us the space that we need to heal. Right? So if you have other tips, I'd love to hear them, share them in the comments or whatever. But hopefully this has been helpful, and always feel free to reach out.